it's still reverberating that Kamala Harris is flunking tests where she has all the answers. The fact that the media continues to insist that this woman is the nominee should tell us so very much about the world in which we live. Nominee should mean something, just like president should mean something. This past week, as we saw an American-Israeli hostage murdered, we watched as Biden slept on a beach in Delaware. We watched as President Trump was taken to task for going to Arlington because he was asked by the Gold Star families to go to Arlington. They took the videos. He didn't take him. His team didn't take him. He was asked to go there and he obliged. Kamala Harris was asked to go there. Tim Walz was asked to go. They couldn't go because they can't go. Because Kamala Harris cannot put herself next to the failure of the Abbey Gate withdrawal in Afghanistan, the withdrawal which led to Abbey Gate. Tim Walz can't be around service people because it might be that the veterans might come to him and say, why'd you lie about your rank? Why are you stealing valor? It might be that the Gold Star dads or moms might go to him and say, why didn't you go fight? Why did you quit the National Guard before you were deployed? But it should absolutely flabbergast us that a woman who is given a multiple choice response, all she had to do was choose answer C, and she could have passed this thing, couldn't do that. Even as we recognize the fact that this woman is not the nominee, but she's done her job. She has been black and female, and that is her job. It's a pretty simple job. Should be really, really hard to flunk, and yet Kamala Harris is figuring out ways to flunk it. It should be a simple difference to explain. This is the embarrassing smells you have in your room, your business, your RV, and what you want it to smell like. It should be a very simple thing to make that happen. Now, you can go through the house, and maybe you've done this. If you smoke, you go through and spray the air cleansers, or you do this in your car. You're going to drive people around, so you put in the fake new car smell. I did this. My wife, when she first rode in the truck I bought a few years ago, she said, you know that someone smoked in this? Like, no one smoked in this. She goes, no, Todd, someone smoked in this truck. This is a smoker's truck. So I had to go through this process of buying this spray and then praying it through my heating system and do this 5 or 6 times. And you know what? That's all a mess. It should be really easy, and it is. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, enter code Todd3. They're going to ship you at a $200 savings 3 devices. They're the same device, but 3 versions of them. Here's how hard this is. Open the box, take the box out, the 3 boxes, take the product out, plug it into the wall. That'll take you about a minute. 3 minutes after that, you're going to smell the difference. Be it in your business, your home, your RV, a car that you need to fumigate, a boat you need to fumigate, your kids' dorm rooms. That device will immediately begin to produce ozone and blow that into the air. Those O3 molecules have a magic quality to them. They bond to the molecules that create bad smells, and they change the molecular structure. All of a sudden, in about 3 minutes, your room, your house, your Airbnb smells like the day after a thunderstorm. Never have embarrassing smells again. Breathe a breath of fresh air. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. You're going to see something where you enter a code. Enter code TODD3. That's Todd3. You'll save $200 on the Eden Pure Thunderstorm 2 devices. They're in our studio. They're in my home. EdenPureDeals.com. Enter code Todd3. Dana Bash gives Kamala Harris multiple choice responses, and she still fails this. But notice that during this entire time period, she continues to be black and female.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my...
Okay, can we pause for a second? I will play this later this week, but there is a professor, he happens to be black, who says that this isn't her thinking on her feet, it's not her filling space, it's her providing eloquence. He talks about her using triplets. True, rhetorically, there's something called the rules of 3s and 5s. People consume information better that way. But this woman is thinking. She's providing filler sentences instead of saying, she's gotten practice at saying, well, Dana, I think the important, and then she goes through these threes. Watch the pattern.
Values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real.
I have always believed, and I've worked on it, that the climate crisis is real. See the construct? She is right now leaning back, trying to think. If you're watching the video version of this, see how incompetent her team is. Tim Walz, who's being paid to be white and oofish, is sitting next to her, but he is placed higher than her. Now, he's probably taller than her, but this is a staging thing. They don't care about any of this. They don't care about winning. She's been installed. I think that they're supremely confident in their ability to rig this election.
That it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time.
Pause again. We should create metrics for ourselves that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. That is a fancy way of saying we should have deadlines. It's a busy way of saying we have deadlines. There's nothing there. Anybody who's ever worked on a SMART goal gets this.
We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example.
She just repeated goals with deadlines of time. Do you remember the original question? The original question was about her values changing. Of course, she's not going to answer the original question because no politician is going to answer a question like this. But what you are watching is a great, big, huge mass of zeros.
That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed.
Except I've gone up and down. Walls, no walls. Now you're back to wall. Now you're back to secure the border.
I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
Except for this, we can go get the footage of parents who had their kids murdered by illegal immigrants who are not supposed to be in the country. One guy's kid was run over, and then the killer ran over him 3 times. Boy's name was Drew. Kamala Harris let that person off. So even with multiple choice answers, all she had to do was pick B. She could have moved forward. She has to use filler words and filler thoughts because I truly believe Kamala Harris knows that there's nothing there. There's nothing deep inside her. In fact, Newsbusters put together a reel of some of the worst moments in this hand-picked interview.
Do you think that President Biden met the moment?
He certainly met the moment. We're hearing from some Republicans that it was too political. Compared to what? President Biden has entered the March Madness chat. CNN's Coy Wire is here. Coy, good to see you. What do you make of the president's bracket? Turns out even Jack Smith can't resist a $5 footlong. New and exclusive CNN video of the special counsel at Subway. I've spent time with Doug Emhoff. By the way, side note, I just have to get this in there because I love this. The video that played before his speech, narrated by their son, his ex-wife produced it. Right. There's a lot for President Biden to tout. Americans don't seem to be giving him the credit. Why is that, and what does he have to do to turn that around? The former president falsely claimed that the vice president, quote, happened to turn black for political reasons. You are the only black woman right now serving in the U.S. Senate. What do you make of all this? 3 of the sitting justices were appointed by Donald Trump. Should any of the justices recuse themselves? You were among the Democrats that...
This is the woman with whom Kamala flunked an interview. When there's nothing there to that degree, here's what should frighten us. Kamala Harris is an intellectual and moral vacuum. What do we know about vacuums? Nature abhors a vacuum. You know what else abhors a vacuum? Human morality, human intellect. It's going to be filled with something. In the case of Kamala Harris, it will be filled with whatever brings her earthly power. Power she seems to think is permanent. But I'm here to tell her, you only have the power over us that God allows you to borrow. And, Kamala, when it violates the word of God, your orders violate the word of God, watch how quickly we choose sides. Because I guarantee I'm not going to be violating the word of God on your behalf.